got the wheels mounted on the front. So right now the suspension is completely down, so it should tuck up a little bit more. Got the black tuner lugs put on. Looks much better with the black tuner lugs. As you can see, the suspension is all the way down. There's no weight on the front end at all. So once the front end is put together, the engine is in, and all that stuff, and the car's at right height, it should tuck that wheel in a little bit better. So yeah, really happy with how that turned out. That wheel's going to look really good on the 68. Most likely going to be going with a either Acapulco blue, or maybe from 68, or maybe the Velocity blue from the newer Mustangs. That's a pretty similar color to the Acapulco blue, and it's a newer color, which hopefully will make it a little bit easier to get it painted. So I think that'll look really nice with the Acapulco blue, or that medium metallic blue with that kind of argent wheel in there. See if we can get this a little bit closer. So right here, this is pretty well focused. This is kind of an argent gray, and as you see, this is milled out, and it's kind of a satin aluminum, and then this is also textured. So it's kind of almost a three-tone color with the wheel. This has got a little step in it right here between the two points of that one lip, or that one cutout. So that looks pretty good. So here's a wide angle view on that. Like I said, it fits really good. So there's plenty of space around the spindle. Nothing rubs at all the way to lock. We're nowhere close to hitting anything. Plenty of space to the strut bar. Plenty of space to all of the suspension. Got about a ½ an inch to the spindle. So really happy with how that looks. Looks really good. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's going to tuck in a little bit on the front end. Hopefully it does. It should tuck in once I get the suspension in. I can test fit that again. I can take the shock down and crank it up without the shock in it to kind of see where it's going to have roughly with ride height, and I'll probably check that before I actually mount tires on it, just to make sure it's going to tuck in good enough. This is the Kelsey Hayes 4-piston front suspension, so I'm hoping I don't have to send these back and get a different back spacing for the front. I'm not sure they make a different back spacing in the 8-inch rim. So it's a little bit of a concern right now. But like I said, that should pull in once the suspension is loaded. So pretty happy with how that looks. All right, so I've gone ahead and removed the coil spring, and right now I have approximately 4 3/4 inches of gap between the outside of the rim and the top of the fender. As you can see, I've only got about a 1/4 inch or so of space between the outside of the fender and the string that's hanging down, so it's not by much. It's not tucking in quite as much as I would like. Like I said, I've removed the coil over so I can adjust the wheel up and down. So 4.5 inches of sidewall is roughly what a 255 4517 would have. So I'm going to kind of play with this. I'm going to jack it up a little bit more and see if that tucks in a little bit. So let me go ahead and take it up, because right now I'm measuring from the top of the rim to the bottom of the fender, but I'm not quite sure if that's the measurement that would be reading with 4.5-inch sidewall, or if it's going to be coming from here. So I'm going to take it up to where I have about 4 inches and see if that pulls the wheel in a little bit. Let me check that. Okay, so I jacked it up. Now I've got 4 inches of gap between the top of the wheel and the bottom of the fender. It didn't really change that much. I think right now I'm pretty level with the upper control arm, so I don't think it's going to pull in until I get it quite a bit higher. I'm going to come around. I mean, you can see it a little bit here. I'm going to go around the front of the car and look down the front where you can see a little bit better on how much gap there is between the rim and that string that's hanging down, marking the outside of the fender. Alright, so here you can see how much gap I've got between the string and the wheel. It's only about 1/4 of an inch. Luckily enough, it's pretty close to the top and the bottom, so my camber setting right now is sitting pretty good. But that is concerning me a little bit, trying to run a 255 wide tire on the front. The 255 has a section width of about 10 inches. These are 8-inch wide rims, so the tire is going to be about 2 inches wider than these rims, so that's going to poke out a little bit further past the fender than I like it to. So now I've got to make a decision on either running a 235 in the front, which is going to be about a 9-inch wide tire, or switching to another rim. So as you can see, my upper and lower control arms are both pretty level, so I'd have to go up quite a bit for this to actually start tucking in, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get it much higher than that. So I'm really not sure how much I can tuck this wheel in. Like I said, as you can see, the fenders are rolled already on the inside, so that'll help with rubbing issues, but that's very close to the outer edge of the rim. So this is a 1968. It started out as a drum car, so I bought the drum spindles and then bought the Kelsey Hayes 4-piston disc brake upgrade kit from Kentucky Mustang that was made for the drum spindles. So I don't think there's any way to tuck this wheel in other than getting a different back spacing on the wheel. So I'm going to have to make a decision here on which way I want to go. So I really do like the looks of the rim. Like I said, I think this is pretty similar to what the Rambler looks like. But the Rambler's got a little more rounded edges or whatever from what I've seen. But I am going to have to look at this to see if there's any way for me possibly to tuck this spindle in. I don't think there is. On the back side, I think I had a little more space between the outer edge of the fender and the outer edge of the rim. So for some reason this front end is sticking out more than I would like it to. So I'm going to have to see if I can go, I believe I've got to go up on the back spacing to tuck the wheel in a little bit. Go up to a 4 3/4 inch back spacing rim. So I'm going to have to see what I'm going to do with this. So I'll put this together. Like I said, this is a Resto Wheel Laguna 17x8. Supposed to be a 4.5-inch back spacing, which is supposed to be what is suggested for the 68 Mustangs. So I'm going to measure the back spacing on it to make sure that it's correct, first of all, and then kind of go from there, and have some decisions to make. Like I said, I can always go with a 235 45 tire in the front. It'll be a little bit smaller diameter, but that's okay. I can adjust it with the Q&A coilovers, and I can still run a 255 in the back. But that prevents me from running a square setup and being able to rotate the tires easily. I'll just have to swap them side to side. This car is not going to be driven a lot, so it's not going to be a huge issue. And a lot of the cars do look good with the taller tires in the back, give it a little bit of a rake kind of look, a little muscle car look. It's okay, but I do like the square setup on a lot of cars. Gives it the Trans Am kind of look that I was hoping for. So this will be just a quick update to the test fitting on the wheels. So hopefully this gives some people some information on the wheels. I'll go ahead and measure this back spacing again once I get the wheel off. And if it's not a 4.5-inch back spacing, I'll update the video. And if it's not, I'm going to contact the manufacturer and see where to go from there. But other than that, that's the end of the video. We'll see where we go from here. If I can get a used tire, I'll put it on and I'll mount it on and see where we got and check the fit from there. So other than that, like I said, like the channel, subscribe, follow the videos, and have a good holiday, and everybody have a great Mustang day.
Project 68.